Good morning and welcome to our service. We're so glad you're joining us this morning. If you would like to receive our weekly e-newsletter, please fill out a visitor form on our website at www.unitytemple.org. Also, if you'd like to introduce yourself and share where you're tuning in from, you may do so in the chat. After service, we hope everyone will join us for coffee hour for small group socializing. If you would like a Zoom link, please email me at tlewis@unitytemple.org. I look forward to hearing from you and hope you enjoy the service.
Good morning. I'm Ed McDevitt, a member of the Board of Trustees at Unity Temple. It is my pleasure to welcome you this morning. If you're with us in our virtual services for the first time and would like to know more about us, please contact our Director of Membership and Engagement, Tina Lewis, at tlewis@unitytemple.org. The board would like to remind you to look for more Unity Temple information than usual over the next weeks as we keep you apprised of our interim minister process, Alan's farewell celebration, and the ongoing work of the community transformation team to plan for a safe return to our buildings. Please be on the lookout for Unity Temple emails, and please make the much improved unitytemple.org website your go-to place for updates as well. Take note in particular of the slider of boxes at the bottom of the homepage. Our congregation's core values are connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Our mission is to embody these core values by welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. We encourage everyone who joins us in our services to reflect on this ongoing endeavor. Please enjoy the service and join us at our virtual coffee hour afterwards. The link to the coffee hour is in your e-beacon for this week or in Friday's email. You can also request the link by emailing tlewis@unitytemple.org.
We invite you to light your shadows with us.
We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the Church of the Open Mind, the Loving Heart, and the Helping Hands. We take care of planet Earth and each other.
Our call to worship this morning is in part from the Reverend Elizabeth Strong. Come into this time of worship and community. Come into this celebration of our flower communion ritual. Come in with open hearts and minds and spirits. It has taken long months beneath cold ground for these flowers to prepare their blooming. It has taken each of us long times of growth through sorrow and joy to prepare for our living now. The blooming season is short, the flowers stay only a brief time. Let us rejoice in our unique colors, aromas, and sounds. Let us celebrate together in love, that as we travel away, we take with us the memory of golden hours together among the flowers. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together.
Please join with us in the words of our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Good morning. I'm Marty Swisher, Music Director here at Unity Temple. Please join me in singing hymn number 21 in the Gray Hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth.
Today we are celebrating Flower Communion, which is one of the few celebrations that is uniquely Unitarian, and now Unitarian Universalist. It's a celebration that is almost 100 years old. Flower Communion is a celebration that was started by a couple named Norbert and Maya Čapek in what was then called Czechoslovakia, but is now called the Czech Republic. The Čapeks first found Unitarianism in the United States. Norbert and his family left Czechoslovakia during World War I because it wasn't safe for him to speak and write all the ideas that he had. They were looking for a congregation where they knew their questions and their ideas would be welcome. Their kids helped them find a Unitarian congregation, and they found it because their children loved coming to the religious education program at the congregation in Orange, New Jersey. In 1921, the Čapeks moved back to Czechoslovakia, which is now a free and independent country, and started their own Unitarian church in Prague. They did such an amazing job that their congregation grew to about 3,200 people, and they helped plant little churches all around the country, so there were about 8,000 Unitarians. The church, though, was very plain. They didn't have any decorations. They just had wooden chairs to sit on. They didn't sing. They didn't have candles or a chalice. Worst of all, they didn't even have coffee or treats during coffee hour. The people would just listen to Čapek talk, and they would talk amongst themselves and go home. So, in 1923, Čapek wanted to create something beautiful in his church. It was springtime, and he looked all around him, and he got the idea for a flower ritual. So he asked everyone in his congregation to bring a flower next week. The congregation, since they were Unitarian, had lots of questions. What color flower should they bring? What kind? What size? And you know what Čapek said? He said, choose whatever kind you like. And that day, so many years ago, in 1923, people brought all kinds of flowers. And when they saw the flowers all gathered together, they thought about how that gathering of flowers is like ourselves. All different colors and shapes and sizes, all needing different kinds of care, and each one is beautiful and important and special, just like each of you is important, beautiful, and special. We can't gather our flowers all together this year. So instead, we collected pictures of people in our congregation with flowers. We'll show those pictures as a reminder that everyone is important and beautiful and special, and it helps us remember that we all need to take care of each other and our world.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
I invite you to join me in a flower communion litany. Your part is to say, "May these flowers be blessed." This comes from and is adapted from Reverend Dr. Norbert Chopek. Please join me. O infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these messengers of fellowship and love.
May these flowers be blessed.
May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts to be one in desire and affection and devotion to your holy will.
May these flowers be blessed.
May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike.
May these flowers be blessed.
May we cherish friendship as one of your most precious gifts.
May these flowers be blessed.
May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do our work in the world.
May these flowers be blessed.
Good morning. My name is Diana Coates, and I'm one of your pastoral associates. And it's the time in the service when we share what we're holding in our hearts, a major transition, a loss, or a wonderful celebration. We surely would like to hear about it. If you would like to have this information shared in the service, please contact one of the ministers or a pastoral associate. If you have something you'd like to share today, please share it in the chat. Locally, the following people were reported killed during the days between May 13th and May 19th. Demetrius Burgess, Jr., 19. Eric Crawford, 13. Diedrich Davidson Yarborough, 34. Arthur Ellis, 29. Richard Irving, 36. Alberto Escobar, 21. Tyron Evans, 42. LaShawn Griffin, 24. Jesus Inglis, 26. Demetrius Jordan, 32. Leonardo Lee, 16. Devontae Sanders, 24. Ronnie Sistrunk, Jr., 25. And Mikael Wiggins, 18. May we keep the families and others touched by violence in our prayers. May we also pray for the perpetrators and the impact the violence will have on their lives as well. And remember, we are a congregation of community. If you're missing someone, reach out to them. Send them a text, send them an email, or better yet, call them or go for a walk.
Please join me for a moment of prayer and reflection. Spirit of eternal life, we find ourselves with the turning of seasons back to spring, back to new beginnings, back to flowers and pollen and beauty. This season of spring is a season of possibility. It is a season of joy and beauty, a season for all the senses, for touch and smell, for sound of new birds. It is a season that truly represents what it means to be part of a spiritual community. In this spring season, in this day of flower communion, we are reminded of the beauty that community provides for us. we are reminded of the uniqueness of each individual flower, of each individual person with their particular fragrance, their particular color, their particular shape. But we also know that a flower, as beautiful as it is on its own, is only that much more enhanced when it is part of a bouquet, when it is part of a larger picture, a larger community. I think of my lilac bush outside, how beautiful each bundle is, and yet when they are together, the smell that they create is intoxicating. Spirit of love and light, remind us in this moment of how powerful and how beautiful we can be when we combine ourselves with each other in community. May it be so. Blessed be.
I am pretty sure that the first time I volunteered to help in the congregation where I grew up, it was for flower communion. I was young, sometime in elementary school. That special Sunday, I had to get to church early so that we could rehearse passing out the flowers. The First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh, my home congregation, has pews and long, long aisles, and each of us had a flower distribution spot that was marked by a sticker at the end of the pew. It was a big responsibility carrying the baskets to the particular rows and making sure that everyone got a flower. I can't remember much else, but I remember the sanctuary and the baskets full of flowers and the piles of flowers, always of the most vibrant variety of colors and shapes and sizes, all jumbled together. Besides Christmas Eve, this was my favorite service at our congregation. I mean, what is not to love about flowers in church, especially ones that you can touch and smell and hold? Then, like now, this always happened in the springtime around the last day of school. So in my mind, it has always marked both an ending and a beginning. If someone had asked me back then what the story of Flower Communion was, I probably would have said, well, it's the Sunday when everyone brings flowers to church and then we pass them out and everyone goes home with a different flower. This is also the answer that I think most Unity Temple kids would give. Am I right? I mean, it is a true story. And there's another true story about Flower Communion, the one Val shared with us this morning about the Chapeks and how Flower Communion came to be and how it spread in the United States. There's also this true story of Flower Communion, that last year and this one, we couldn't actually bring flowers to one another. So we brought, if we thought of it, pictures of ourselves with flowers and hoped that it would be enough. For now, anyway, in pandemic times. For the full glory of Flower Communion this year, make sure you take time to experience some of the glorious flowers around us if you haven't yet. I have, like all of you, experienced all sorts of changes in my lifetime. Flower Communion has always been something that I could rely on. Even in those few years I wasn't able to celebrate it with a congregation, I had the flowers to remind me. It feels, perhaps especially this year, good to know that. In these 15 months of pandemic, it has sometimes felt like there wasn't a lot to count on. Time has passed sometimes at a crawl and sometimes at a supersonic speed, and I was surprised a few weeks ago when I saw the beginnings of the lilies of the valley coming up. This is my absolute favorite flower. It blooms and shows its glory itself only for a brief time in May. There's a patch behind Gale House, which I think of as my personal patch. When the blooms are ready, I grab one and take the longest and deepest breaths I can to absorb the aroma that I love so much. My wife feels that way about lilies. Perhaps you have a favorite flower too. I'm not sure which part is my favorite story of Lilies of the Valley, that they bloom only once a year for such a brief time, and this makes them incredibly precious. Or that the moment of soaking in their aroma is a glimpse of perfect mindfulness. Or that this patch of Lilies of the Valley, especially this year when I have used Gale House as my office, feels like it is a secret I discovered for myself. All of these stories are true. These past couple of months, I have been participating in the Beloved Conversations virtual program, Unlearning for Liberation. It involves diving deep into resources and then engaging in those learnings through personal reflection and in groups. Lesson 3 was about both / also thinking. I keep coming back to that idea of both and thinking, how truth is complicated. That more than one story about the same incident can be true, or that we can hold different truths about our experiences. One of the goals of this lesson is stated like this: to listen to and to work to understand others' truths, begin thinking about the complexity and multiplexity that exists in our communities. This is particularly important for white people who have been taught that our truth or experience are universal or normal or right, and often question the truth of BIPOC experience as a result. In our culture, or maybe just U.S. American white culture, we tend to think a lot about either or thinking, as if there is only one choice. It's a little bit like how we like to divide people into just two genders. People and life and truth and stories are so much richer than that. Both and has opened my mind and heart up wider. It is my most fervent hope that next year at this time, we will literally be together in Unity Temple celebrating Flower Communion, feeling like we are fully on the other side of this pandemic. I wonder what stories we will tell then of the times we have lived through. Will we celebrate how we came to enjoy hanging out on the couch, all enjoying worship from our separate homes? Will we remember how hard it felt to get out of bed some days? Will there always be grief from this time reverberating in our lives? Will we hold on to the new ways we paid attention to little things? Or more likely, will all of these be true? These particular pandemic days are full of a multiplicity of true stories. Some of us are fully vaccinated and ready to, quote unquote, get back to normal. Some of us are not yet and or cannot yet be vaccinated. Some of us are zoomed out, and yet not quite ready to leave our houses to be in big groups of people. Some of us are fine shopping and doing most things with masks on. Some of us are eating inside at restaurants. Some of us are dealing with friends and family who have completely different attitudes about COVID protocols, and so on and so forth. It feels like a particularly challenging time to hold a both-and attitude around these issues. Especially in anxious times, it's important to listen a little more closely. As the community transformation team, the team working on a phased reopening of our buildings, started work, we realized that we needed to find a deeper truth of what our values were. So we identified some truths, some core values to guide our work. Things like guidance by science, safety as highest priority, collective care versus individual connection, full inclusion, accessibility, and so on. These truths are helping to guide our congregation in a story that is true to who we are. There's a part of the story of Flower Communion that I never learned, I don't think, until I had become a minister. I mean, it's not actually about Flower Communion, the service itself, but about Norbert Čapek, its creator. When World War II broke out, Norbert Čapek stayed in what was then Czechoslovakia, while his wife Maya returned to the United States. Čapek was arrested and ultimately murdered in the Dachau concentration camp, killed for preaching his truths. He said, "It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. Oh, blow ye evil winds into my body's fire, my soul you'll never unravel." This, too, is part of the true story of Flower Communion. I have been thinking about how Čapek both died a horrible death and left us this joyous ritual, which sounds about in line with what I know of the mixed-up beauty and challenge of this world. Our congregation is on the cusp of experiencing ministerial transitions. One minister is leaving and another will arrive in the next few months. It feels like a lot of change. It is a lot of change. And as I got to thinking about all those Flower Communion services at the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh, I realized that congregation also experienced many ministerial transitions as I grew up. Jim Hobart came when I was very young, replacing the minister who dedicated my sister and I. When he left, we had a couple of interims, and then my dad was on the search committee that brought Paul Beatty. When Reverend Beatty died suddenly when I was in college, a few years later, David Herndon was called, and so on. There was grief and joy and challenge and controversy all along the way, true story. And through it all of those times, that congregation was my home. It was where I belonged. It was where I was loved and challenged and valued for all of who I was. Often the minister helped create part of that, sometimes a big part, but mostly it was everyone else around me who held me carefully in their hearts and hands and spirits. Also a true story. I am picturing that small version of myself clutching the handle of that precious flower basket tightly in my hand. My heart is full of purpose, and I think of the flowers we brought that day, and I wonder which one I will get to hold and love, and, if it survived the service, also bring home. I listen more closely to the story, and I see the deeper truth of that community that showed me how to give and how to receive. I listen more closely to this story, and I see the calling us to pay attention to this beauty and this joy all around us. True stories all. May we see beauty and joy all around us. May we share our stories and listen with open hearts to others sharing. May we know this true story. We are deeply loved. And so may it always be.
My name is Beth Dowell. I'm a member of the congregation, and I have a special place in my heart for Hospital Albert Schweitzer. Each week, Unity Temple gives our Sunday offering to an organization that aligns with our Unitarian Universalist values and is committed to bringing compassion, equity, and justice to the world. This week, our offering goes to Hospital Albert Schweitzer. My childhood years in Deschapelle, Haiti, are the reason I pursued a career in medicine. My parents worked for HAS, and I saw the positive impact HAS had on the local community. I know that what you give today has the potential to make a significant difference in the life of a Haitian in that community. You may donate online by sending at hashaiti.org, by sending a check to Unity Temple with HAS Haiti in the memo line, or by using the camera on your phone to scan the QR code on the screen. May what you give bring you joy.
Join me in singing our final hymn, Come and Go With Me to That Land. Now come on and sing with me this time. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land.
There'll be singing in that land.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. May we go forth and, as Chapek said, remember it is worthwhile to fight courageously for sacred ideals. May we share our true stories and open our hearts to others' true stories. May we stop and notice the flowers and find we can count on beauty and joy. May we remember that even while we are apart, we are held deeply in community by love.
Bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air. I remember canyons